First item under new business is BRD2. BRD2. I recommend the board discuss and take any action needed to sever, resign, and terminate their membership with the Florida School Board Association effective immediately, and that the superintendent and board chair take all appropriate actions. Motion by Mrs. Andrews, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Discussion? Ma'am, the lady in the other room, I'll get back to you. I called your name. I moved on when you didn't come to the microphone. Hold for us, and I'll get back to you. Go ahead, Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you. I just was curious if we need to individually say whether or not we're going to resign, or if...
Yes, you're right. This is not the way I asked the administration to write this recommendation. It was to discuss and take whatever action the board felt necessary with respect to this issue. So if you want to discuss individual withdrawals or full withdrawal, whatever you all want to discuss, it's there for discussion and then a decision that you all want to make.
Okay. Well, I just want to say a huge thank you to the Guatemala Maya Center and to the Compass Community Center for coming and expressing their views tonight. I think it's very valuable to hear from the people that are, affected by the comments that were made. And so I just want to say thank you for everyone putting this on the agenda. And I would like to resign my membership, at least. I'll start with that. Thank you.
Mrs. Andrews.
Thank you. And I, too, would like to thank the speakers tonight. It was devastating to see children demeaned and called racial names, and just really from the person that's the president of a state organization, which I have belonged to since I've been on this school board, but I had to make my decision to step aside. Yes, I've received awards, and I've worked hard along with everybody here on this board for the Florida Schools Board Association. But I've shared with the executive director there should be something in place in the bylaws when you have a president of any organization, when they demean their position or cause harm to the organization, that there should be some way that that person would be actually removed from that position for the greater good of the organization. I must take the stand as my own individual rights and beliefs that we respect all people, all children, all adults. And I take the stand of removing myself until the Florida School Boards Association take the necessary steps to correct the situation at the Florida School Boards Association. Thank you.
Ms. Ayala.
Thank you. As I said last meeting when we had the opportunity to discuss this, I cannot continue my involvement with this organization at this time. Their comments were not only hurtful to a community I proudly represent, but to myself, and they clearly do not have the judgment and leadership that I expect out of an organization of this caliber. So I would like my individual membership revoked.
Vice Chairwoman Brill.
Thank you. So I'm going to make a motion, but before I do so, for the public who had spoken about asking for Patricia to resign, the FSBA did ask her to, and she declined. So I want that to be for all of them to know that. But I want to make a motion that we, as a collective school board, resign from the Florida School Board Association.
We have a motion by Ms. Brill. Is there a second? Mrs. Andrews? Discussion? All in favor? Dr. Robinson?
So, I think I expressed this before. I feel a little bit conflicted. I guess I hate walking away from a fight. Maybe that's what it is. But, and again, as I said, the Florida School Board Association was never an organization that I really connected with. And maybe I should just chalk this up to we've come a long way, because I remember being in this room when a school board, actually it was a board chair, referred to LGBTQ people as another species. And I was the only one who was upset.
Not this board chair.
No, nobody currently sitting here was there other than me. I'm the old timer, right? And I was just truly upset, and I was the only one that was upset. And so maybe I should take this as a win, that it appears that the board is collectively disturbed by those statements. It does trouble me, though, that there will be this statewide organization that purports to represent school boards who will be, I don't know, I'm looking from the outside because, I told you I don't really actively participate with them because I was so disappointed, but they would be left unchecked and potentially move away from the direction one would hope, right? And so my question is, as I understand, we paid our dues. Can we get a refund on our dues? Does anyone know?
Yeah, we can pursue that. I want to confirm, we've had some conversation that may be possible.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to, under the banner of coming a long way, since finally I'm not the only person who's outraged by various IST comments, I will support the motion. But I would hope that if we can find a way to change that organization that purports to represent school boards throughout the state, that we would take advantage of such opportunity. I don't know what that looks like, but I just hate to see them. I hate to see them left unchecked. When I got on this board, because of what I consider to be attitudes and practices that were very unfavorable to whichever group of other, long list of others that were not respected in these chambers. And I just had trouble abandoning the effort to improve institutions. So I'm conflicted, but under the banner of we're making progress, I will support the resolution. The amendment.
Mrs. McQuinn, did you have your hand up, or was Ms. Viala? I saw a hand down there, and I don't know which one of you it was. Okay, so the next one to speak would be Mrs. Andrews, then Vice Chair Burrell, and then Mrs. Whitfield.
Dr. Robinson, to you and to my fellow board members, you all selected me to be on the board of directors representing the Florida School Boards Association. I took that job seriously and attended all of the meetings. Because of the work that we do here in Palm Beach County, I was asked to lead equity and to work to make the organization better. I just had the unfortunate situation to have a president who is actually giving me direction as a committee chair, as well as being on the board of directors. We have to fall under the president, and when the president is acting out of turn, acting inappropriate, creating havoc for the state organization, I do need to make a statement on that. I do believe, as I said before, we as a board, I was so proud of us last time, because we've been trained here. We know better. We believe in children. We love one another, and we don't make those kinds of statements. And we're board members elected for all children, and we do the right thing for everybody. So I just can't sit into that organization if I don't see the movement of trying to learn, to be better, to get the training necessary. And so when the president decided as a committee chair, I was asked to lead equity and to work to make the organization better. I just had the unfortunate situation to have a president who is actually giving me direction as a committee chair, as well as being on the board of directors. We have to fall under the organization better. I just had the unfortunate situation to have a president who is actually giving me direction as a committee chair, as well as being on the board of directors. We have to fall under the president. And when the president is acting out of turn, acting inappropriate, creating havoc for the state organization, I do need to make a statement on that. I do believe, as I said before, we as a board, I was so proud of us last time, because we've been trained here. We know better. We believe in children. We love one another, and we don't make those kinds of statements. And we're board members elected for all children, and we do the right thing for everybody. So I just can't sit into that organization if I don't see the movement of trying to learn, to be better, to get the training necessary. And so when the president decided that she wasn't going to step aside, and a couple of her other friends said that they would support her getting some help, and you had several others that said she needed to go, but you only had 5 people, and the president was one of the 5. So when you have 2 saying that we know she needs help, and maybe 2 more that is supportive of her trying to stay there and learn to be better, but when you're up in age and you make the level of being the president of a state organization, it's just truly unacceptable. So I have to make the statement, and I'm happy to hear my fellow board members know that something has to be done by the Florida School Board Association. I've shared that with the executive director. I've shared that with the president, and I mean that. So they're going to have to make some real major changes there before I ever consider going back there.
Thank you, Mrs. Whitfield, then Vice Chair Brew.
Thank you. I appreciate what you're saying, Dr. Robinson. I just want you to know that I do like the idea of voicing this. 2 things that I think are important in this. First of all, I think taking our funding away from the Florida School Boards Association that we give, that is quite large, because we are a large district, is a very good message to send to them. I think we're telling them that we no longer support the agenda that they have. And I personally have very much enjoyed attending the Florida School Board's meetings. I've gone every 6 months since I've been on this board. I like the networking. I like the trainings that we get. I also understand, and Mr. Bogus can talk to this a little bit, that we do get our board docs through them. So that's how we, for everyone in the community, that's how we do our agendas. So that is a concern with getting our funding back from them. But I feel like that's a really good statement that we as a school board have an opportunity to make, and to say that this does not represent us. Now, the other thing that I'm hoping comes out of this is that school boards throughout the state will see our statement and say, does this president, does this executive team at the Florida School Board Association represent them? And if they do, they can stay. And if they want to see change, like we want to see change, then maybe they'll make this statement along with the School Board of Palm Beach County. So I'm proud of the school board for making this statement. Those 2 community groups that spoke are very near and dear to my heart. They're both from my neighborhood, and they're groups that I really, really care about and support. So to me, today, I want to take away any funding that goes to an organization that says bad things about children that I care about. That's the big deciding factor for me today. So I want to take our money back. I want to step away from this organization, and I want to say to them, make the change that you need to make so that you support every child in the state of Florida. Thank you.
All right, I have 2 more, and then let's wrap this up so we can move on to the other agenda items. Ms. Brill and then Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. So first of all, I spoke to Andrea Messina after our last meeting, and she indicated to me that they would refund the monies that we paid. Our withdrawing from the FSBA today does not preclude us joining them again. I would hope that Dr. Robinson would join us to make the changes there. I will say, though, that over the last couple of years, I really have not participated. I found I got the most out of it when they were virtual. When I did go there, it was good to have the networking opportunities, but I would sit through trainings, and quite frankly, I'd come out, and I know Mrs. Andrews and I would shrug and look at each other and say, after a session, and say, we've already been doing that for years. So we are light years ahead of many of the districts that are there. I do share Mrs. Whitfield's concern that maybe other districts found it acceptable. And so I think we do need to send that message and then see if it is an organization that we do wish to rejoin. But yes, they are willing. The CFO has given the approval, as I was told 2 weeks ago, to reimburse us for the funds that were paid.
Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. I would just offer a friendly amendment to the amendment, and that is that we resign, I'm going to call it en masse, from FSBA to revisit when Chris Patricca is no longer president.
Accept that?
I'm fine with that.
So we have a modification. We have a second. Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion on the modification? Discussion? Mrs. McQuinn?
Well, just in agreement with the amendment, because we are withdrawing en masse as a board because of FSBA's refusal to remove the president. That is our objection. And I also, because I do want to say that I found the sessions when I was a new board member to be very helpful. But after that, again, our groups often present.
Mrs. McQuinn,
But-
pull up your mask, please.
Oh, Lord have mercy, excuse me. And thank you for reminding me. Now, okay, moving forward. So, I do appreciate the reminder. So thank you for that. Now, going back to Dr. Robinson's, or somebody's, about working within the organization, we have a very strong contingency from the Glades that goes to every session, and they have made a difference in helpful legislation for our Glades area. So I like the fact that we have agreed that we will revisit it. Thank you.
I saw what, Mrs. Andrews, you want to discuss that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go along with that, Dr. Robinson, but I think we have to put something in the bylaws, because I don't ever want us to be here again where something happens and you have a president that has gone rogue, created havoc for the organization. There needs to be something in the laws that will make sure that it's looked at and that person can be removed, not because they don't want to be removed or they may have friends that want to keep her there, but if there's some criteria there that shows that you've actually damaged the organization by your behavior based on the objectives of the organization to take care of all students and making sure that they're successful, there has to be something in the bylaws to knock that out, so that if this ever happens again, I would never want to be sitting there saying, I remember this from before, and here we are again.
All right, is there any more discussion on that modification? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We're back to the main motion to withdraw the school board, the school district, the school board, whichever the proper term is, General Counsel.
It should be a motion to both individually and collectively
Okay.
withdraw.
Okay. We need a motion to modify the motion again.
Motion to individually and collectively withdraw membership from the Florida School Board Association.
We have a second on that one. Ms. Ayala, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now we have a main motion, which I believe is just like the modification that was just made. So let's just vote on it just to keep the General Counsel happy. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.